One of the most tragic chapters in human history is the transatlantic slave trade, when at least 12 million enslaved Africans were violently and cruelly uprooted from their homes and sent across the Atlantic Ocean to strange lands. It's thought that as many as 2 million died before they even got there. Much has been written about the experience of enslaved Africans in Europe and the Americas, but less about what slavery meant for Africa. First, it's important to understand that the Europeans were not the first to trade in enslaved Africans. The Arabs had engaged in this centuries earlier on a massive scale across the continent, the Indian Ocean, and the Red Sea. Also, Africans themselves had long practiced a form of slavery, using captives from battle as unpaid laborers, soldiers, or domestic servants.
The main difference is that people were captive, were not sold. People were enslaved through war, through debt, but they were able to become included in the families of the captors. They were supposed to be taken care of. It doesn't mean that they have a wonderful life, but they couldn't be sold to somebody else. They were slaves of these families and they were doing the work for this family. That's really the major difference. They were deprived of freedom, of course. They would have to work for the masters or for mistress, but they were not a commodity.
And then also what made the indigenous slavery a bit peculiar was that people also needed slaves as wives, and they would marry the women, have children with them, and the children became part of the family. And what I found in my research was that in the indigenous system, women always priced higher than the men. But in the Atlantic system, the men priced higher than the women. For women, mainly in Africa, were needed for marriage and to help with household chores. The men were needed to go and do the back-breaking labors across the Atlantic.